Oh, there we are, and we're live.
Oh, well, God's grace, peace, and mercy are yours from God our Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, forever. That's
it. That's how we start these things.
How we start these things, right?
Okay, well, thank you for joining us for today's Roundtable Theology. We're obviously jumping back into the story. We're on chapter 22 this Sunday, which is...
What is it?
What is chapter 22 about?
Any guesses?
Christmas, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Yeah.
You guessed it.
Chapter 22
Christmas.
is Christmas.
In March.
In March, yes. So, this is it. It's happening. Who comes into the story?
My favorite character in the Bible, Jesus.
Jesus, this is it. He enters stage right, enters strong with a good story, good dramatic story to start his career.
Absolutely. So here's the challenge. How are we going to celebrate Christmas on Sunday without saying, the H word?
It is still Lent. It is Lent.
So we can't be too happy, but just a little bit.
Okay, so chapter 22. We encourage you to read it this week so that you're ready to talk about Christmas. Dan, they're going to be back. They're headed back right now. So Dan is going to talk to us about Christmas. And we've based our Stomtish today based on what sermon notes he gave us to go off of.
So why don't you read us those sermon notes that he gave us?
Okay, so basically we're going to talk about how Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament.
Right.
Okay? Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament. So, all the scriptures bear witness to Christ. Moses wrote about Christ. I mean, how do you get more first in the Bible than Moses?
It's true.
But we will.
No, we will. Yes, and all the scriptures are about Jesus Christ, even where there's no explicit prediction. So, there's like a fullness of implication in all the scriptures that points to Christ and is satisfied only when He has come and done His work.
You don't say.
I just kind of came from in here.
Yes. Okay, also, how Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament. He came to fulfill all that was written in the law and the prophets. All of it was pointing to Him. Even when it's not explicitly prophetic, He accomplished what the law required.
Exactly. And all the promises of God in the Old Testament are fulfilled in Jesus Christ. So like all of the promises in the Old Testament, right? So that is when you have Christ, sooner or later you will have both Christ Himself and all that He has promised through Christ.
Oh, okay. The law was also kept perfectly by Christ. And all its penalties against God's sinful people were poured out onto Christ. Therefore, the law is now manifestly not the path to righteousness. Christ is. The ultimate goal of the law is that we would look to Christ, not law keeping, for our righteousness.
Right. You read my mind.
This is what you get whenever you really start to think about how Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament.
Exactly. So, this brings me back to what I said kind of at the beginning of this. I said my favorite character is about to enter, but from what I'm reading here, He's always been there.
He's always been there.
It's all been about Jesus from the very beginning of time.
Adam.
From Adam.
Did you know Jesus from His very birth is Israel in the new Adam?
Ponder that.
Ponder that for a minute. Pastor Dan is going to tie all of that together for us real nicely in a package, like a present, on Sunday when he talks about Christmas and the fulfillment of the Old Testament through Christ.
Right. So there's no guided reading this time.
No guided reading,
as you can tell. And so to brush up on your Christmas story before Sunday, just to prep yourself for like the big fun celebration on Sunday, I would say read your favorite version of the story. Everyone to each his own.
Chapter 22, read it, whichever version you prefer.
Be reading this one if you like pictures.
The pictures are nice in that Bible. Make sure you read it to your kids. They're going to be talking about Christmas too.
Mm-hmm.
And we might even sing a few Christmas songs.
Spoiler alert!
Okay, so anyway, and also to get you prepared, we will link in the comments the video from, was that 2 Christmases ago?
Yeah, it was 2 Christmases ago.
2 Christmases ago that retells and really captures the heart of the Christmas story. So, God's blessings, and
Go in peace and serve the Lord.
thanks be to God.